Luxury space travel and its price. Space tourism prices vary massively. What do you get for $250,000 versus $80 million? It's been over 50 years since the moon landings. Branson, Musk and Bezos all have their own aspirations to conquer the final frontier. With private companies getting in tow with space agencies, there are more and more opportunities for private astronauts to enjoy their own space adventures. Here is a rundown of the main players, prices and what bang you'll get for your buck. How much does it cost to go into space? 1. Virgin Galactic. For a reported $250,000, you can buy a seat on Branson's Spaceship Two flight. Your flight will last around 90 minutes and will take you across the 62-mile-high Kármán line that marks the boundary between Earth's atmosphere and space. Celebrities such as Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio are amongst the estimated 1,000 space tourists who have put their deposit down for this extraordinary trip into space with Virgin Galactic. However, after a 2014 fatal disaster that killed one of the pilots, delays have ensued, meaning they have been waiting several years longer than expected. There is still no fixed date in place for when Branson's company will start taking space tourists. Total cost: $250,000. 2. Blue Origin. Jeff Bezos' New Shepard spacecraft, named after the first man in space, Alan Shepard, has had several successful test missions and is close to flying passengers to the final frontier. The company haven't divulged ticket prices yet, but the cost for space travel with Bezos' company is likely to be close to Virgin Galactic's Spaceship Two price of $250,000. Jeff Bezos has also announced his intentions to take space tourists to the moon. It's 50 years since the moon landings, and Bezos reckons it's time to go back to the moon, this time to stay. 3. SpaceX and NASA. Elon Musk's SpaceX has successfully carried out its first few missions to the ISS. Aboard the Dragon spacecraft, 2 NASA astronauts blasted off the planet for a 2-month stay on the International Space Station. NASA recently announcing it will open up the ISS to space tourism and other business interests. A real buzz for billionaires has ensued ever since. For $35,000 a night, private astronauts will be able to stay for up to 30 days on board the space station when traveling on U.S. spacecraft. A flight with Boeing and Elon Musk's SpaceX company would set you back around $60 million for a return ticket. Total cost $60 million plus $35,000 per night. 4. Roscosmos. Since NASA retired their shuttle program in 2011, the only agency sending humans into space since was the Russian space agency, Roscosmos. NASA have had to pay for all seats on board the Soyuz spacecraft, and this price has been steadily rising, a reported $82 million per seat. Prior to 2011, Roscosmos worked with private companies and in 2001 sent Dennis Tito, the world's first space tourist, for a 7-day space mission to the ISS, International Space Station. Once NASA start launching from the US, it is thought seats will become available again for private space tourists. Total cost: estimated $20 million. 5. Orion Span. Orion Span announced plans in 2018 to build the Aurora Station, the world's first hotel for space tourism. The station will have 2 private suites catering for 4 guests and 2 crew members per stay. Guests will have to undergo a training program lasting around 3 months, says Orion Span CEO Frank Bunger. A 12-day mission will cost guests $9.5 million per person, making it a cheaper alternative to previous private space tourists who have paid upwards of $30 million to stay on the ISS. Total cost $9.5 million. 6. Big Wide World. If you're not quite ready to take the space plunge, or perhaps you are contemplating your own spaceflight and want to get a feel for what's involved, our astronaut training program is the perfect fit. Experience astronaut training firsthand. Sleep where Yuri Gagarin lay before embarking on his voyage to the stars, and be accompanied throughout by a former commander of the International Space Station, ISS. We have also secured exclusive access to the next launch of the Soyuz spacecraft. Total cost: from $40,000. Space Perspective, which calls itself the world's first luxury spaceflight experience company, announced that it has opened bookings for flights into space departing in late 2024. The cost: $125,000 per passenger. The 6-hour experience will take place aboard a massive space balloon called Spaceship Neptune, which is about the size of a football stadium and has a bar and bathroom. While kicking back in plush reclining seats, Passengers will sail 20 miles, about 100,000 feet, above the Earth, taking in a 360-degree view of the planet in the pressurized cabin. Individual seats can now be secured with a $1,000 refundable deposit, or an entire capsule with 8 seats can be reserved for an $8,000 refundable deposit. Special bookings are also available, including the first 25 flights that are called Legacy Explorers. Calling it a radically gentle voyage, the trip will depart from Space Coast Air and Spaceport, which is across from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral, Florida. It will launch on a 2-hour ascent that goes 99% above the atmosphere and then glides for 2 hours above the Earth. For those who want to share their flight in real time, the capsule even has Wi-Fi to ensure a secure livestream connection. The vessel will then return to Earth in another 2-hour trip with a water landing, before a ship picks up the passengers and capsule. The company notes that the experience is regulated by the FAA Office of Commercial Spaceflight. Space Perspectives Neptune 1 completed a 6-hour and 39-minute test journey without any humans on board. Launching at 5:23 a.m. on June 18 and sailing 108,409 feet in the air before landing about 50 miles off the Florida coast in the Gulf of Mexico. It is an incredible privilege launching from the Space Coast, where the history of human spaceflight was forged over the past decades and continues to build momentum today, company CEO and founder Jane Poynter said in a statement. Flying on spaceship Neptune will be an extraordinary experience for our space explorers. The reality of space tourism has been fast-moving in recent years, with big-name investors like Jeff Bezos betting on its future with Blue Origin. Sign up here to learn when bookings are available. Richard Branson with Virgin Galactic, private astronauts and researchers can inquire about flights here, and Elon Musk with SpaceX, inquire here about flights to both Earth and lunar orbit. If you find this video useful, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.